Hello and welcome to Professor Pincushion. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to sew a peplum. Now the peplum is this little skirt ruffle that's at the bottom of my top here, so I'm going to show you how to sew it and then how to attach it. Let's go ahead and get started. Your peplum section should either consist of 2 or 3 pieces. So you can have 2 that are just shaped like this, or you can have like my example where I have a front and then I have 2 back pieces, or it could be a back and then 2 front pieces. It really depends on the style of your garment. You'll see on this larger one, I have these straight edges with a double notch. I have one here and I have one here. So with the corresponding piece, I'm going to match up that edge that also has the double notch. You're going to place them right sides together. I'm going to line up the edges, the notch, ease everything in between, making sure all your raw edges are matching. Do the same thing on this side, right sides together, and then you're going to take it to your machine after you pin it and sew your seam allowance for just these edges. I'm just doing a regular straight stitch for this. Don't forget to backstitch on both ends, and you're doing it at your normal seam allowance for your pattern, unless your directions state something differently. So I'm doing mine at the 5/8. When you finish, don't forget to press your seams open. If your peplum comes in 3 parts like mine and you still have this open edge, there can be a couple of different directions that this could take depending on the style of your garment. One direction is it's a button-down shirt. This is the front and it needs to remain open because when you take your shirt off and take off the buttons, you want the peplum to open up just like the rest of the shirt. So to do that, you're going to be looking at the wrong side, and we're just dealing with these straight edges. So this edge and this edge. Now I'm going to show an example on this side, but you would do the same thing on this other side. So you're going to look at your pattern and see what the seam allowance is for the edge. So for example, maybe it's 5/8 of an inch, and you're going to create a narrow hem. Just to quickly show you what that is, because I'm going to show you how to do a narrow hem just in a second. You're going to fold it the 5/8 of an inch. You're going to press it all along this whole edge so you get a crease. Take this raw edge, bring it to your crease, and then refold it back up. Then you're going to stitch it into place, sewing right along the fold line. So that's quickly how to do it. Again, I'm going to show you again in just a moment. The next thing would be maybe your peplum needs to be a full circle, so this seam actually needs to be sewn. So when you open it up, you get a full circle. So you're just going to do just like we did before. Bring the raw edges together, match any notches, and then go ahead and stitch your 5/8 seam allowance and press your seams open. Here's an example on my pattern where it states what the hem allowance is going to be, because I'm also going to do my narrow hem at the bottom of the peplum. So this is also going to be that same 5/8 inch narrow hem that I've already showed you how to do. Now the one addition I did make is this basting stitch. So this is the longest stitch on your machine. My hem allowance was 5/8 of an inch, and I did my basting stitch at about 3/8 of an inch. And the reason why I did this is because now we're dealing with a curved hemline. And this is later going to help us ease everything in, because we're dealing with fabric that's longer on top than it is as we go in. So I'll show you how to do that. It may sound confusing now, but let's just start the first part. So I'm just doing the same thing. I'm looking at the wrong side. I'm folding up my 5/8 of an inch. And then you're going to pin and you're going to press it, because we want to make sure we get a nice crease down here at the folded edge. You see how the top of my hemline has a little bit of a wave to it and it's not lying flat? That's because the area at the end of the hemline is greater than the area that we're folding up to. That's why we did these basting stitches. The next step is going to be taking this raw edge and folding it to our crease line on the inside and then folding it back. Now if you're still getting that wavy effect and your hem is not lying as flat as it should, just take a straight pin, put it underneath one of the basting stitches, and slightly pull it. It's not going to cause so much as a wrinkle as it's going to start gathering the top a little bit. So that will ease the top of the hemline, and it should lie a little bit flatter, and that's all you need to do in order to fix it, because we want to have a nice clean hemline. Then you can go ahead and pin it into place. So I'm going to do this for the whole hemline, and then we'll take it to the machine and stitch it into place. For sewing the hem into place, I'm just using a regular straight stitch, and you can see I'm sewing right along this folded edge right here. So I'm going to do this for the whole length of my narrow hem. Now we're going to attach the top of our peplum with the bottom of our bodice. And my bodice is inside out, and then the peplum is right side out. You'll notice here I have double notches, and if we look at the top of this, I also have double notches. So we're going to line up the raw edges and line up notches and seams and stuff. So I'm going to put this inside here, and the raw edges should be meeting. Gonna match up my little single notches here. Let me grab some straight pins. So my pieces are right side to right side. You definitely want to make sure you do that. So when we stitch it and flip everything right side out, everything's going to be correct. All right, and then the next important thing to match is going to be the side seams. So the side seam of the bodice should meet the side seam of the peplum. And we're going to pin that as well. After I have my major points pinned, then I just like to pin everything in between, making sure everything's going to line up and fit. So I'm also going to do the side seam on this side, matching up the side seams, and so on. So you're going to pin all the way around, and then go ahead, take it to your machine and stitch your seam allowance. So I would stitch a 5/8 inch seam allowance. If it's a little bit easier for you because you happen to have a lot of pins and doing a lot of easing, it might be a good idea to baste the pieces together first and then stitch on top of your basting stitch. But if everything seems to be lining up pretty easily, then you could just do a regular straight stitch and just be done with it. Here's a final look of the peplum attached to our shirt, and if you have any basting stitches showing, you can go ahead and remove those as well. And that's all there is to it. New tutorials are released weekly, so please subscribe to be notified of the next release. Make sure to check out our other videos and visit ProfessorPincushion.com to view our complete library with well over 200 sewing video tutorials, including our exclusive premium content. Our premium membership is only $5 a month for unlimited access and only available at ProfessorPincushion.com. Also, don't forget to download our mobile app for videos on the go. Thanks for watching.